Welcome to the Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. We are here to give you all of your real estate news, all of your mortgage news. Where are the interest rates at? Are we still in a seller's market? Is the market crashing? Is there a bubble, as Wall Street would have you believe, or are the talking heads on the media? So I'm just totally still busy, Bruce. Still busy. So
you're busy, but the market's crashing right now.
It's
Did
funny.
you hear that?
Central Florida has been in a seller's market probably since about 2012, or probably about 10 years.
Right.
Just because inventory goes up does not mean that switches.
No.
A seller's market, which means appreciation, we could have 5 times as many listings. Now, when the sales drop because the economy stinks and is really bad, or people can't borrow, like in 2008 when their mortgage rates jumped to 10%, they couldn't afford it. They thought they're going to rent that house they bought for $3,000 and it didn't rent. None of that's going on right now. Everything is very sound. We still have a shortage of supply, and I'm still getting multiple offers on my listings. And what's funny, though, all the national headlines talk about how inventory is up around the country. It's not up a lot.
No.
And sales are down fractionally because of higher interest rates.
And I've got the numbers. I think you probably do too as well.
Go ahead. Share the ones you got.
I find this interesting because you and I are hearing from people that are, it's not uncommon. I even heard from a real estate agent that says, I'm not really advising my people to buy right now. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? Well, because I think houses are coming down in value. And I said, have you looked at the numbers, or where are you getting your news from? He goes, well, you can tell. I saw Lennar and they dropped their prices, and I've got a house that is having to reduce their price by $10,000 and it's still not selling. I said, that's because it was $20,000 over ask, over value. So I have the numbers here, and I found them rather fascinating because when I look at this, and I pulled up Seminole County, but Orange and Seminole County are
running about the same.
They're about the same numbers.
Central Florida.
So the number of sales was down by 13.11% from July of 2021 to July of 22. And new listings were down by 12.65%. So now that's a real number. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and so inventory's still low,
right?
Relatively. Now, is it as low as it's been the past 18 months and things got crazy? No. So, but that means like a year and a half ago, Bruce, I was getting 20, 30 offers on something.
But here's what I found fascinating. This is why people say, oh, I want to wait. The cost of waiting is costing you a fortune. Now, here's why. So I, first of all, think buyers have a better opportunity right now than they had even a month ago.
Oh, yeah.
No,
we're getting closing costs. We're getting a little bit off list price sometimes.
Your buyer's agents are negotiating closing costs on every transaction just about that we've got in our pipeline right now. But here's what I found fascinating. I asked these agents and I asked these people, well, how much do you think houses have dropped in value? And do you think they're undervalued from where they are? They go, oh, yeah, they're coming down in value. It's all over the news. I'm like, well, let me just put this in perspective for you. Mm-hmm. Year to date, your values are up right here at 18.21%.
Yeah, the median price is up.
That's the median price. The actual average price is up 20.1%.
And this is because those people are thinking about active listings. Their prices are coming down. That's active. That's what you're asking. You can ask whatever you want for a house. The market value of the home is what people are walking away from the closing table at. That's the market value of your house. What you take at the closing table, what you sign papers on, what you get paid for, that's your market value. And those sales haven't slowed. We still got a good number of sales in Central Florida. When the bubble hit, Bruce, and nobody could borrow and everybody stuck with extra houses, sales slowed to like a snail's pace, like literally like less than 1,000 sales a month in Central Florida.
Right.
And our population is so much bigger than that now. We're probably about twice as big as that now. Central Florida's sprawled so much. But we don't have problems getting loans. Now, where are the rates at? I heard the rates actually came down.
Rates have come down a little bit. So, depending on where you are, you're going to be anywhere from the 4s to the 6s, depending on credit score, type of loan.
We can get into the 4s again?
You can get into the high 4s.
If you're stellar credit and all that?
Your stellar credit, you can get into the high 4s. Some jumbo loans may be in the 4s. But they're sitting at the high 4s. I'm not looking at refinancing anybody yet because they're going to go up again. The Fed's going to raise the Fed rate a couple of more times this year. The whole, that your government just passed an Inflation Reduction Act, right?
It spends $1 bazillion.
Spends $1 bazillion to try to cut back on inflation. I'm like, I don't know.
God help us.
You talk about fuzzy math. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how that. Now, listen, I'm all about infrastructure and fixing infrastructure and things like that. So I can swing both ways politically when it comes to that. I don't think anybody's against fixing infrastructure, but some of the frivolous pork that you see in these bills is ridiculous. But it is what's called the Inflation Reduction Act. It's a freaking joke because we have not hit the peak of inflation yet. In my opinion, I don't think
they're
that's
spending more money, which probably is
and we're going to spend more money. All right.
Imagine if they had to balance their budget, how good the economy would be and how good Wall Street would
Can you believe that? So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so the prices are still rising. They're not going to slow down.
Prices are up 20%.
And even and it's funny because I see articles about how there's vulnerable markets because their prices went up so fast, they could come down just as fast. And Florida's got a couple cities, not us, in that list of top 10 markets that could come down. But what's going to happen is when sales slow and the mega $1 million homes don't sell, the media is not going to tell you, hey, the median price is still rising. They're going to say, oh my gosh, the average price dropped 10%. So prices are coming down. If you're going to own your home for any number of years, and we always think you should always buy and hold your real estate until you're moving on to your retirement home, or you're liquidating your portfolio, in your 60s and 70s, but it's not going, they're going to pick the stats. You know, if it bleeds, it leads, and always watch what you're interpreting. What kind of headline are you reading or what are you clicking on? And then tune in here and we'll tell you, is that a local stat? Is that a Central Florida stat? And then you and I have jobs because you interpret that person's credit report and that person's income.
Absolutely.
I interpret their market value of their house and I interpret what's going on with them and what's best for them. Okay, the kids don't leave for college till next spring. Or when they graduate next year. So let's get you, don't do that new pool, but let's do it. You know, your kitchen is beat up. Let's do a kitchen remodel. So, but if you need help getting a mortgage, what's the phone number, Bruce?
407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144. Or visit my website and apply online at WeBringYouHome.com.
And Loveland Properties. I got a lot of people calling me. It's actually funny, Bruce. I can tell the market's slowing because I got people on the market and they've been on for 4 months and they're calling me going, I haven't sold. And it's usually
4 months,
and this is unheard of. So it's fixing a couple little things. It's not always market position, but you got to watch your market position, your price. You got to pay attention to that. And a lot of the listings I'm seeing, I'm still getting multiple offers on my listings. A lot of the listings I'm seeing they're way above. They're thinking the market's going to keep going at that 20% a year rate that we've had. That's been incredible.
Or
for 2 years.
ask 10% over what the actual value is worth.
Yeah.
And they were getting it last year. And all they had to do is put a sign in the yard and say highest and best, and they had 15 people wanting to buy it.
No,
that is no longer the case.
No longer. Well, some people can't qualify anymore. Other people have bought their homes. There's not as many people moving out of the blue states that, you know, the blue states are pretty much unlocked, I think, unless they're trying to lock them down again. But we've got people coming here. But this is the market we're in, and it's different for every single person you and I talk to. We'll help you with the best roadmap to where you want to go.
Absolutely. Whether you're a jumbo buyer buying in a high-end property for $5 million or you're a first-time home buyer that's scraping pennies to get to come to the table to come up with your down payment. But you know what, Cleve? You and I are teaching classes, and we have a home buyer class that we're teaching on August the 17th. And you know, what we're doing here is helping people that are currently renting and frustrated with rent understand how to get in the market, because there are ways you can get in the market. There's low down payment loans. There's zero down payment loans. You and I are really pushing a lot of Hometown Heroes, which is helping firefighters, police, educators, and nurses, healthcare workers. I mean, a myriad of different occupations.
Well, here's what if people focus and they understand they shouldn't have a $700 BMW lease. That should go towards housing. That's what's going to help. You're shaking your head like you.
Oh
you see
my
that all the
God,
time.
I see that so often.
And why do you think they do leases? I remember 20 years ago you didn't do leases. 25 years ago you didn't do leases
because they can
did
buy
that because you can buy a car you can't afford. You can
right.
you rent a car that you can't afford.
Right.
So, and there might be advantages for businesses, but I'm just saying if you look at your family's budget and the family's bringing home $8,000 a month,
right?
They should be able to put how much towards housing? 30%?
Well, you should be able to put about 40% towards that. You should be able to. A 40% is a comfortable budget for your housing expense. You get above 45%, you're pushing it. If you have no bills whatsoever, no car payments, you pay your credit cards off every month, 45 can be a comfortable. I see 50% people getting into. It's a little strained, but when I look at somebody that's got a 50 DTI, 50% debt to income ratio, Cleve. But I'm not using a spouse because they don't qualify because of credit.
Yeah.
But they've got an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in income. I'm willing to push that client to a 50 back end ratio because they really have more money than that. I'm just not using
But when
it.
somebody comes to you and they get fast tracked,
Yep.
because this is the buyer, the fast track's like still priceless. It made your offer look better when you had 20 offers to compete against. But now, if they're fast tracked and you tell the seller, hey, we need some closing costs and we're coming in a little bit below list price, but our loan can close whenever you want it to. Our lender guarantees it. You have no doubts on what's going on.
Absolutely. My average close time is 28 days. I can close a fast track loan in 10 days without any problem. Why? Because it wasn't pre-approved by a loan officer. You guys are all running around with pre-approval letters that were written by loan officers. Well, that's like the fox guarding the chicken house, right?
Yep.
So when an underwriter approves a loan, the loan's done.
It's done, yeah.
It's underwritten. The only thing we're missing is a contract and an appraisal. Listen, if you're out there and you're considering buying a home, you've got to give Cleve and his team a chance. He can be reached at 407-352-8118. That's Cleve Loveland and his amazing buyer's agents. 407-352-8118. I guarantee you, you will not find a better group of negotiating buyer's agents than you have on your team. I absolutely love them. I've referred my own family to them, and I'm going to tell you something. They knock it out of the ballpark. So that's what you want to choose when you're choosing a great real estate agent to partner.
And realtors, you want a good lender that's going to get your loan done and tell you what's really going on with your buyer and not leave you hanging weeks before closing saying, oh, wait, we got to do this. Wait, we got to do that. You got to sell that car. Oh, loan's denied. Call Bruce at
407-250-9144. It's 407-250-9144. Or just apply online. It's super and easy at WeBringYouHome.com. That's WeBringYouHome.com. So we've identified, Cleve, that the amount of sales is down about 13%. New listings are down about 12.65%, but houses are actually up about 20%.
Yeah, prices are rising, but what you're going to see is that oh my gosh, the number of homes that adjusted their list price went way up. Well, that's in a normal market, that's normal.
That's normal.
And then they won't be selling for above list price. That'll be the next thing we see is, oh my gosh, homes are selling at 98% of list price instead of 100.
Great. And
instead of
97% of list price is actually, I think, isn't that a
so
good?
Watch those stats. Yeah, that's actually good, but it's still a good price, but you got to be marketed right. And what I usually do, Bruce, I make people, like I just had a seller fussing at me because I said, hey, we need to spend $5,000 on this house. It was just a paint job and freshen the yard up. It looked horrible. It had been a rental property and ridden hard, put up wet. And literally I told him he tried selling on his own and had a bunch of realtors come through and it was too rough. We spent $5,000. I raised his price $15,000 and got him 10 offers. So it's all about perception. It's all about staging. And I've got a 50-point staging checklist you can get. We'll give out the numbers in a bit. But
Go ahead, give it out.
407-352-8118. I got a good email, Bruce, here asking about person looking at homes in the $450,000 range.
Okay, good price point.
They said, what's a good offer to put in? They found the one they like at $450,000, $449,900, and they said, what's a good price? What's a good price offer? This is what your agent should be doing for you. How long has that home been on the market?
Correct.
How do you feel about it? Did you see something at $420,000? Did you see something at $470,000? Yeah. You'll know the one.
What does it compare with the other properties in that area?
When Neo appears before you, you will know the one, so, and it's the red-pilled America, right?
Right.
And so it's just, you will know, and then how long has it been on the market? Has it had a price adjustment? And that's what you're seeing now. If a house has been sitting for three and a half weeks, there's no offers. You ask the listing agent, they say there's no offers. It's been at the same price, and it's a little bit rough. And you saw some other ones that were maybe they're a little less square footage, but they were beautiful. It gives you an idea that you might need to come in a little below list price or offer a little less. Now, check the comps in the neighborhood. I just had one. We were looking at it, and it seemed like a good price. But when we checked the neighborhood, this house was 10% above the rest of the neighborhood. So that's what's important. But when they fast track with you, and they've got hometown heroes all lined up to help them with costs, it's just it makes it so simple. But we are paid most of the time. People they want a realtor to help negotiate, and they want a good lender to know that their loan's going to close. Yep.
All right. So thank you for that. Fast track is definitely the way to go. Cleve, your number again?
407-352-8118 or lovelandreport.com.
And for the loan arranger, 407-250-9144. When we come back from the next break, I want to talk to you, Cleve, about what the IRS has done to audit the self-employed buyer and how that's going to affect them getting a real estate transaction or a mortgage in the future. So stay tuned.